Maybe you think you're a terrible person because you've spent your entire life trying not to be one. And maybe this applies to your relationships with other people as well. When you look at other people, you think about how some of them can be so nice to you, but it confuses you because they can also be so mean. And because of that, you're just tired of this constant push and pull, and you feel like you just don't fit in. You feel stuck. You feel hopeless. You feel like life doesn't make sense to you. We're going to talk about the dynamic between echoism and narcissism, and how a lot of people who go through a lot of trauma in life also experience this push and pull between both extremes, which, by the way, does not make you a narcissist. But if you're watching this video, then you're probably somebody who feels like they're a terrible person because of all these protective coping mechanisms that you had to develop because of your trauma. You find yourself going from people pleasing and then to the other extreme of being extremely self-absorbed. Sound about right? And if that's something that you want to inform yourself on and possibly take this information and then apply that to your life so that you can heal and do whatever you want with that information, then this might be the video for you. So I invite you to go ahead and stim, do your dishes, walk around, because this is going to be a bit of a longer video. Let's get to it. So to get started, some of us grow up in environments where the people who were supposed to be taking care of us invest a little bit more energy into themselves than taking care of us. These narcissistic or self-absorbed influences, whether from our family or our community, affect us a lot more than we give credit. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. But regardless, they shape a lot of who we are and what we become and how we identify. And because of all this, the natural response, especially if you were a child, is to try to figure out some way to protect yourself. And a lot of us end up developing what is known as echoism, which is basically when you shrink or make yourself smaller and basically put aside your own needs so that you can avoid conflict, harm, or rejection. Because us being our authentic self and having needs might upset the person who is more self-involved. When you grow up in an environment like this, you become so focused on meeting the other person's need that you suppress a lot of who you are. And again, you're doing that to protect yourself, to keep the peace and avoid chaos. But the thing is, as we get older, things start to change. And the thing is you're no longer a kid, and you're starting to see the effects of all that people-pleasing and self-sacrificing. So once you're made aware of how your upbringing has been affecting you, maybe you start to go to therapy, start looking up self-improvement, you start to do things to try to heal yourself. But as you start to heal, you might find yourself teetering between both extremes of echoism and narcissism. On one end, you might start to exhibit more narcissistic traits, and you might start to judge yourself and shame yourself because of that. Basically, what you're doing is an overcorrection after years of being a people pleaser and self-sacrificing. You start pushing people away, you become hyper-focused on protecting yourself because these wounds are so deep and you are feeling so vulnerable. But then out of fear of becoming the same people who hurt us, we then go back to the other extreme of echoism, self-sacrificing, and people-pleasing. And that push and pull can make you feel really lost. You might start to question who you really are. You might start asking yourself questions like, am I a narcissist? Am I unhealthy? Am I a terrible person? And you say that you're doing this because you're trying to keep yourself accountable and you're trying to be self-aware, but really what you're doing is shame spiraling and just hindering your growth, because basically you are so afraid of becoming the one thing that you were trying to avoid. And the issue is society doesn't make this any easier, especially with all the narcissism talk and the judge, jury, and executioner by everybody who's going around just analyzing and constantly diagnosing people. There is such a stigma around mental health and this purity culture of everybody being like, I'm better than you, I am much more healthy. We are constantly being bombarded with these messages that promote purity, whether that's through religion, spirituality, self-improvement culture, therapy culture. You're told to be good, to be selfless, to be perfect in your healing. What's terrible is that pressure to be pure is actually something that pushes us back into that habit of echoism, where we try to be everything for everyone, but we leave nothing for ourselves. But the issue with that is, on the other hand, is sometimes that need to protect ourselves from that pain and that hurt is what's going to push us back into the other extreme of trying to overprotect ourselves and go back into those narcissistic traits of self-absorption. So we teeter, constantly being pulled between these two extremes: the people pleaser who sacrifices their own needs for other people, the martyrer, and the overprotective, narcissistic person who pushes away others so that they can protect themselves. And all the while, we shame ourselves and blame others. We lash out and then we shrink ourselves. It's so fun here. But the truth is, both extremes of being self-sacrificing or self-absorbed are unhealthy. And here's the gag. Healing isn't about being one or the other. It's about finding balance, never met her, right? Between both of them. We don't have to disappear into the needs of other people all the time, but with that same energy, you don't have to build walls so high that you completely disconnect. And with that, healing also means acknowledging what we've been through. You need to validate all the unjust things that happen to you throughout your life and give yourself permission to grieve. It's important to allow yourself that safe space to feel that pain, to feel that sadness, to feel that anger, the devastation of years lost, the pain, the overwhelmment of the fact that these people were supposed to take care of you and they didn't, and the fact that they probably never will, and the fact that that's just not fair. The healing also requires finding a way to forgive the situation. This has nothing to do with the other person. If you don't ever want to be around that person, don't. But forgive Forgive the situation for yourself. And again, this is not excusing bad behavior. It's just giving yourself permission to actually grieve and heal and move through the things that happen to you. As you navigate this process and grieve and figure out all these things, it's important to start understanding your needs, your values, and your preferences. Boundaries are there to protect us, but they're also there to help us grow. They create a space for healthy connection, not disconnection, so that we can learn from ourselves and others and have that connection with ourselves and with others. Lastly, it's important to remind yourself it is okay for you to take up space. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let people in. It is okay to trust yourself and other people. Healing is about finding a middle ground where you can honor yourself without sacrificing yourself to other people, or you can also care for other people without feeling like you're going to lose yourself, where you can trust yourself enough to know that if things do go south with anybody, you will know what to do from there. It's about learning to live through your own authenticity without swinging between both extremes that once defined you. So anyway, if you are thinking that you're a terrible person because one moment you're self-sacrificing and you're self-sabotaging and then you're falling into negative extremes where you're pushing people away or being toxic or whatever, and you feel like you're stuck and you're hopeless, I'm telling you, it's possible to change. You're capable of doing that, and you deserve to be able to give yourself permission to do that for yourself. So anyway, I know that was a lot. I'm glad we feel closer now. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever, feel free to comment and let me know. Otherwise, my name is Sarah. I'm your favorite self-experimenting coach or companion, and I help get people reacquainted with who they most authentically are. You're an amazing person, and I hope you have the best day.